Researchers have spent decades studying the places in the world where people live the longest and stay the healthiest the furthest into old age. And when you look across all of those studies, across different countries, different diets, different cultures, the same 5 habits keep appearing. Not supplements, not extreme diets, not any single dramatic intervention. 5 daily habits practiced consistently across a lifetime. The National Institute on Aging has found that older adults who follow multiple healthy lifestyle behaviors have up to 60% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease compared to those who follow few or none. Today we're going to go through all 5, where they come from, why each one works, and the simplest way to make each one part of your life after 60. Number 5 on this list tends to surprise people. It's not food, it's not exercise, and most people are getting far too little of it. Stay with me. Before we go through them, if this kind of content is useful to you, hit subscribe and the like button right now. There's a new video every single day, and I'd love to have you back tomorrow. And if you have a thought or a question about any of these habits, drop it in the comments below. I read every one. Let's start. Habit number 1 is moving naturally every single day. Here's what the research on the world's longest lived populations found that surprised many scientists. In the regions with the highest concentrations of people living past 100 areas, studied by researchers and reviewed by Harvard Health Publishing, these people were not following structured gym routines. They were not doing hour-long cardio sessions or lifting weights 3 times a week. Instead, movement was woven into everything they did: walking to a neighbor's house, tending a garden, climbing stairs instead of taking an elevator, doing household tasks by hand. A study in the Journal of Population Aging found that these centenarians were in almost constant low-level movement throughout the day, farming, walking, manual crafts, rather than long periods of sitting interrupted by one scheduled exercise block. The research suggests that it's the consistency of everyday movement, not the intensity of exercise sessions, that matters most for long-term health. What's the practical application for you? Look for natural opportunities to move more in what you already do. Walk to the mailbox instead of driving. Take the longer route around the grocery store. Stand while you read the news in the morning. Walk after every meal, even for 5 minutes. The goal is fewer long stretches of stillness, not necessarily more formal exercise, though that helps too. Habit number 2 is eating mostly whole, recognizable foods, especially plants, across every long-lived population that researchers have studied, from Okinawa to Sardinia to rural Costa Rica. The diet shares a common pattern reviewed in studies published through the NIH's Biomedical Library: whole grains, vegetables, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, moderate amounts of fish and lean protein, minimal ultra-processed food, not identical diets, not the same cuisines, but the same foundational pattern. One finding from researchers studying these populations stands out: a cup of beans a day, lentils, black beans, chickpeas, whatever variety, has been specifically linked to meaningful reductions in mortality risk. That's affordable, but it's available at any grocery store, and it requires no special knowledge to prepare. The practical principle: at each meal, ask yourself if the main ingredients are things you could picture growing in the ground, swimming in water, or living in a field. If yes, you're on the right track. Habit number 3 is having a clear sense of purpose, a reason to get up in the morning. This one is backed by research that most people don't expect. In the population studied by Blue Zones researchers and reviewed in papers published through the NIH, people who could articulate a clear sense of purpose, a role they played, a responsibility they held, a goal they were working toward, lived meaningfully longer than those who couldn't. Some researchers have estimated that a clear sense of purpose adds roughly 7 to 8 years of healthy life expectancy compared to living without one. The mechanism behind this isn't fully understood, but it appears to involve lower chronic stress levels, greater daily motivation to stay active, and stronger social engagement, all of which compound over years. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It can be as concrete as a garden you tend, grandchildren you help raise, a skill you practice, a community role you play, or a project you're building toward. The research just suggests it needs to feel genuinely meaningful to you. We're halfway through. If this is resonating, hit like now and share it with someone who'd find this useful. Habit number 4 is staying genuinely connected to other people. We covered this in depth earlier this week, but the data is worth repeating. Research supported by the National Institute on Aging found that loneliness increases the risk of dementia at a magnitude comparable to physical inactivity or smoking. In the world's longest-lived population, social connection is embedded in daily life. People live near family. They belong to communities, faith groups, farming cooperatives, neighborhoods where people know each other's names. They share meals. They check on each other. For most people over 60 in the U.S., that kind of natural community has to be built more deliberately. What counts? A regular phone call with a family member or friend. A weekly gathering of any kind, belonging to a group, a walking group, a book club, a church, a volunteer organization. The research doesn't require quantity. It requires regularity and genuine engagement. Practical start. Identify one recurring social commitment you can build into your week and treat it as non-negotiable. Habit number 5 is actively unwinding stress every single day, and most people underestimate how important this one is. In every long-lived population researchers have studied, there is a daily ritual for releasing the tension of the day. In Sardinia, it's a glass of wine with neighbors at the end of the workday. In Okinawa, it's a moment of reflection and ancestor veneration. In Loma Linda, it's a weekly Sabbath, a full day of rest and community. The specific ritual doesn't matter. What matters, according to researchers reviewed in publications through the NIH's Biomedical Library, is that chronic unmanaged stress is a documented accelerant of aging. It drives inflammation, weakens the immune system, disrupts sleep, and affects the heart and brain over time. A daily practice that reliably lowers your stress response, even for 15 to 20 minutes, appears to be one of the most consistent habits shared by people who age well. That practice is personal. For some people, it's a walk. For some, it's prayer or meditation. For some, it's creative work, music, art, woodworking. For some, it's simply sitting quietly with a cup of tea and no screen in sight. The key is that it happens daily, not just on weekends, not just when things feel overwhelming, but as a regular expected part of your day. Let's pull all 5 together. Move naturally throughout your day. Build movement into what you already do. Eat mostly whole, recognizable foods, especially plants, beans, and legumes. Cultivate a clear sense of purpose, a reason to get up that matters to you. Stay genuinely connected to other people on a regular, recurring basis. And unwind your stress every single day through whatever practice actually works for you. These 5 habits are not secrets. They've been documented across cultures, across continents, and across decades of research. They're not extreme. They don't require a gym membership, a special diet, or an expensive program. They require consistency. And the good news is you can start any of them today. Just a reminder, this is for learning, not medical advice. Before making significant changes to your diet, exercise, or health routine, talk with your own doctor who knows your full history. If you found this helpful, subscribe and hit the bell. There's a new science-backed video for people over 60 every single day. And I'd love to hear which of these 5 habits do you feel strongest in right now, and which one do you want to work on? Tell me in the comments. Tomorrow we're covering something that gets a lot of attention, but also a lot of confusion: vitamin D. What the research actually says, what it doesn't, and exactly what people over 60 should know about it. I'll see you then.